right here, right now. We are on holy ground. Let's breathe that in. Release the day. And find yourself right where you are in the presence of Spirit. We feel the sacred peace being here in the pyramid on this beautiful campus of Unity of Houston. This prayed up earth where decades upon decades of spiritual practice has been done. We feel ourselves one with the harmony and the peace of that awareness, that consciousness that has built up here throughout the history of unity. That we are now a part of that legacy going forward of peace, of love, of harmony and understanding, unfolding within us, transforming us from within out. And so we move into our time of satsang with an awareness of the divine appointment that we have made to participate in the satsang tonight, whether in the pyramid or wherever you're live streaming from. We are one, and we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Let there be peace in my mind. Let there be peace in the earth. Together we'll sing Om Shanti. Om Shanti is an invocation of peace in the Hindu and Buddhist traditions. When Om Shanti is chanted, when Shanti Shanti is chanted 3 times, it is an invocation of peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in our speech. So let us remember that as we join together in this song. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my mind, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my mind, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside Shanti Om, Shanti Shanti Om, Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Shanti Om, Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Shanti Om, Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Shanti Om, Om Shanti Om. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Shanti Om, 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 Om Shanti Om. When there is peace in my mind, there will be peace in the earth. Remember the truth of our being. God is I am. God is I am, right here, right now.
And so this is the time in our service that we practice our time of moving more deeply inward, our practice of aligning spirit, mind, body in one. And so I invite you now to take a deep breath in with me. And as you do, simply relax and adjust your seating so that you feel the natural pull of gravity across your neck and head, your shoulders, the alignment of your spine with your hips seated, your feet on the floor or in a comfortable position, allowing your hands to rest in your lap, palms up, or in whatever form is most comfortable for you, to become unaware of the positioning of your body as you relax and as you breathe. Lifting your shoulders and relax. And so in this moment, I just invite you to move into a deeper experience. With each successive breath, simply allow yourself now to breathe in and breathe out and become aware of the interior of your mind, in the interior of your heart, as you consider this question: who are you? Give an answer. Breathe. Who are you? Answer again. Who are you? And breathe. Who are you? Answer. Who are you? Another answer, and breathe. Who are you? Watch as your answers change. Going deeper, breathing. Who are you? Breathing. Listen deeply. Who are you? Breathing. Allowing. Knowing. Who are you? If no answer arises, stay with the empty space until one does. Who are you? If you feel fear, or laughter, or tears arising, confusion, stay with whatever comes. Breathing. Answer. Who are you? Keep answering anyway. Keep letting go into the process. Who are you? Answer. Breathe. Who are you? Enjoy the meditation. Allow yourself to find a new answer each time until nothing arises and something answers. Who are you? 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 Breathe. Know. Listen. Hear. See. Who are you? Feel. Who are you? Breathe. And take a deep breath in and open. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And breathe and gently return to this time and to this place, to the space around you, to the room your body is seated in, bringing with you an awareness of what is deeply true of you and who you might be, what you might be, who you are truly. Who are you? Now you see. Gratitude rises. Joy comes. Love flows. Now you see. And so it is. Amen. Note how this meditation changes your perspective about who you truly are.
As we shift our attention into this space, we feel our gratitude for this opportunity to join together to remember the truth that sets us free. And in that gratitude, we share of our gifts to this ministry that blesses us in so many ways. If you're online or in the sanctuary, I just invite you to give on our text to give or through our website. And for those who are here in person, we have an offering box at the door, so on your way out, you can give then. For now, let us hold our offerings in our hearts as we bless them with our offering prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and so it is. Amen.
I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. surrender. I surrender.
This evening, we are talking about the paradox of self. This is part of the teaching that we are using from the book A Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield, and we've been using in our series, but I've really been looking forward to this. This is the difference between selflessness, which is an aspiration of the spiritual path, and identifying and feeling the connection with the authentic self, our true self, some people think of as the small self, the letting go of the small self or the little self or the ego self, and identifying with spirit or the authentic self, the capital S self, the higher self, the perfect self, the part of us that was created in the image and likeness of God. It's a way to think of it. But it is, in a sense, individualized and yet also, a part of all that is. It's that part of us that is connected to the divine, that is expressing the divine. And how is it that we can move and let go of the self, the small self, to move into an identity with that? And yet we need the ego in the real world. And I heard Reverend Michael preaching on this recently, where it's not to let go of our ego self. We need our ego. We need it. It's healthy, though. We need it in balance. And there's the rub. The Buddha describes the attachment to the small self. When the small self is separate, we think of ourselves as individual and limited and identified, and I'm here and you're over there and you're over there, and all the people that are coming through live stream right now, they're somewhere else and they're very far away, and they're in their own zone and in their own world, and I can't see them and I can't touch them, but I don't have the ability to sense them. And yet there is a part of me that can do that. But if I'm only in touch with the small self, if I'm only in touch with my ego self, with all the stories in my head, with all the thoughts and feelings that Karen is producing, well, then I'm living in my own world, and that's my small self. That is the small world. And believe me, my ego is very good at keeping me busy with only that. There's plenty of fodder up there in my head for all of that. So the Buddha describes the attachment to the small self being separate, the idea of being separate, as the seat of all suffering. That is the idea that when we only identify as an individual, as a separate being, and all the world is out there, and I feel very alone and very cut off, and I have to constantly try to reach out, I have to constantly try to draw in whatever it is I need, then I'm always grasping, and I'm always afraid, and I'm always reaching for something to fulfill me, because I only know what I don't have. I'm only living in lack. I'm only living in small. I'm only living alone and out of touch. And that is the seat of all suffering, is this whole idea that we are separate. Why? Because, first of all, it isn't the truth of us. That's a large part of it right there. We weren't created to suffer. It is where we go with what we know that separates us and what we've been taught about ourselves, or not taught about ourselves, the big part of us, the truth part of us. But this isn't the truth of us. And so all belief that causes suffering is because it isn't true. Now, isn't that good news? It isn't even true. Oneness is the master truth. If you don't learn anything else tonight from me, I want you to walk away knowing that oneness, the oneness of all life, the oneness of all that is, the connection that I have, that you have, that we all have to all that is, God, and everything that is like God, and everything we think it is, and everything that isn't like God, and everything that is true, and everything that is a part of the living truth of life, everything that is connected. And everything that is true because we are one with it. Every truth principle you will ever hear that has truth is a corollary of the truth of being one with all. Everything is a reflection, everything is a mirror, everything is a corollary to that. Everything is true because we are one. You don't have to believe it to make it so, to make it real. You just have to remember it so you can use it. You just have to remember it so you can fall back into it. You just have to remember it so you can begin to feel it again, so you can enter it in awareness. I am one with everything, even though I don't feel that way right now. The truth is, I am one. The truth is, everything I need is already here. The truth is, I am enough. The truth is, I am worthy. The truth is, I am already love. There is nothing to add to me. I'm already all that I can be, all that I'm meant to be, all that I am. Everything I seem not to have is on its way to me because I am evolving and becoming, because I live in a body that is temporal. That awareness then becomes the liberation, becomes the freedom, becomes the joy. And the fact is that this oneness is already operational in you even before you remember it, even before you wake up to it again, even before you heard me say it tonight. It was already operating. Every time you touch innocence or joy or peace or silence or wisdom or truth, you have let go of your separateness for a moment. Every time. The longer you can stretch that out, the longer you can remember, the longer you can stay there, the longer you live in truth. You live in the oneness. There is, in fact, no self that is a separate container. In other words, when I was giving you this idea that the small self and the big self, like there's a big self, it's a way of thinking of it. What it really is not a container at all, but an awareness, a window to all that is. And you simply wake up and you begin to see it. When we're in our small self and feeling unworthy and not enough and lacking and sad or mad or left out or hurt or wounded or depressed or grief or sad, whatever we're doing that is taking us for a while out of the joy and the peace and the life and the love. When we're here, this is the unreality. This is the small self. This is a collection of belief system. But as soon as we wake up, freedom, joy. Selfhood is our sticky identity manufactured by our ego that needs to be real. Our ego is what is struggling to be real, but it isn't real. It's just a temporal collection of belief systems and ideas and stuff we've accumulated. Some of it's good, some of it's useful, It helps us to navigate in the world, but it is not real, and it's transient, and it changes all the time, and it grows, and it becomes something else. But it's our vehicle, it's our way as humans to identify in this world and to work. But a healthy ego knows it doesn't have the truth. It only has the mechanics of knowing how to work in the world, but it doesn't have the purpose, and it doesn't have the master plan, so to speak. It's our awareness of all that is that infills this and gives purpose and gives direction and gives joy and brings peace into all of it, and wisdom. Cornfield says, any identity we can grasp is transient and tentative. However, the experience of selflessness, that's letting go of the small self, in practice can bring us to great freedom. Freedom is the hallmark. Joy is the hallmark. Peace is the hallmark of knowing that you have reached outside of the small construct of your ego, of your small self. What is real is the observation of a fluid reality that we experience as life, where we don't know what's going to happen next. Have you been feeling like that? You don't know what's going to happen next, right? We've spent at least a good year not knowing what's going to happen next. Even when we thought we did know, we got surprised, right? Real life is happening in real time. And the more wonder and the more we can let go, and the more we can just become aware and feel and touch and taste and experience what is actually happening, stay present, be honest, be authentic self, just be real with what's happening. The more that we can process it and move forward, take the good of it, we can benefit from it. The freer we feel, the more joy we can feel. Our feelings, we think we can control our feelings. We can't control our feelings. Can you conjure up your feeling? You might be able to do that by holding on to some thoughts that give you a certain kind of pleasure or a certain kind of feeling. Of joy, perhaps, or whatever. You might be able to do that for a short period of time, but most of the time, we are being run by conditions that we have feelings that react to life. We also have the illusion of control, and that illusion of control has more to do with inner suppression. Oh, that's not a good feeling. I shouldn't be feeling that right now, and I don't like to feel that feeling, so I'm going to feel this one. Right? I'm going to pick this one over that one. We think that we're controlling our feelings, but we're not. We're suppressing. We're putting it away. We're judging. And we're only allowing ourselves to be conscious and to be present to the feeling that we've chosen. We also think we can control the outward expression as we've matured in a culture that also judges whether that's a good feeling or an appropriate way to behave or not. We've learned to hide this feeling, and we don't express this, but we talk about that instead, right? Because that's how we've been enculturated. But that's not feeling. We know the danger of that. When we don't feel the feelings we have, we gotta pay the piper sometime. We're going to have to deal with those suppressed feelings. Our body follows its own laws. OMG. It certainly does that. It ages. It gets sick. It changes in ways we might wish it wouldn't. It moves according to its own nature. We don't control this either. So why don't we enjoy the ride? Why don't we instead become the portal of awareness? Why don't we instead let life happen and marvel at it like a child? Shakespeare wrote in The Tempest, "Be cheerful, sir, our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold, you were all spirits and are melted into air. into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yes, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like the insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. All of this is made up. It's all thin air. It all comes, it all goes. But what is real? Real is this moment. Not was, not will be, now. This is what's real. Sri Nisargadatta says, the real world is beyond our thoughts and ideas. The real world is beyond what we can think and what ideas we have. We see it through the net of our desires, divided into pleasure and pain, right and wrong, inner and outer. To see the universe as it is, you must step beyond the rest, beyond the net of these ideas. It's not hard to do so, for the net is full of holes. And there you touch it, and there for a moment you felt joy, and there for a moment free, and there for another moment peace, and there for another moment love, and there for another moment wisdom. And you heard the beauty of deep silence. You fell through the net of your thinking. There is joy in selflessness. Cornfield says, discovering emptiness brings a lightness of heart, a flexibility and an ease that rests in all things. But on the other hand, the more solidly we grasp our identity, the more solid our problems become. You starting to see the connection? The more we think, the more we look, the more we try to identify our sticky identity. I'm a mom, I'm a minister, I'm a sister, I'm a wife, I'm a good person, I'm an artist, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I'm a reader, I'm someone who can cook, I garden. You know, all these identities, all of these things we build a part of our ego. It's okay to do that, but it's important to realize it's not the truth of us. What selflessness is not is getting rid of our ego-centered self. It is, as I said, our point of navigation in the world. It is necessary for us to build a healthy ego, but it has to be in right relationship with the higher part of us that can see and infuse that with the wisdom to navigate in the world. The ego knows how to navigate in the world. That's what we need it for. But it's not meant to be in charge. It doesn't set the agenda. That's where we get into trouble. That's when we suffer. What selflessness is not is apathy or unworthiness or meaninglessness that we may have experienced before in our lives. That's not at all. Those feelings of being disengaged is another mysterious way for us to separate. It is only when we are engaged and open to all that is that we feel the vibrancy of life. Selflessness is not an excuse to withdraw from life because it is all an illusion. Have you heard somebody say that? You know, it's just an illusion. Life is an illusion. I don't get into the nitty-gritty of problem solving. I just go to knowing the truth, and the truth sets me free. I just go to turning it over to God, and God takes care of it, and I just go about my business, and I don't worry about that. And I don't take care of the things that need to be taken care of. The absolute view that somehow it's all going to be handled at some other level, not concerning you. That's a way to spiritually bypass around life's problems. What we're meant to be is engaged in the issues that are within our power and the things that are ours to do. But we know that there's a part of us that can bring peace and understanding even to this. And yet I still see this, and yet I'm still with this. And I feel the uncomfortable feelings that accompany this problem. But I also remember that this is not who I am, and that because it has come, it shall pass. And in knowing that, I don't put it away. I engage it, and I'm not afraid of it, and I watch it unfold. And I'm delighted by it, and so grateful for the goodness in my life, and for the gift it brings, right? Thinking of ourself as bad or wrong is also not selflessness. Thinking of this small self as wrong or bad, as I've said repeatedly tonight, this is a necessary part of us. And that old idea of judgment of something bad or wrong is really an old religious idea that doesn't serve us any longer. Moving from this idea of the small self to the true self means to let go of identity with a small personal self, and this is part of our spiritual maturity. It's part of our spiritual development. The second part is establishing connection and identity with the true self. And how do you do that? This true self, this authentic self, it's not selfhood in itself, in a way. It's not a container at all. It is pure awareness in which we see, feel, experience life within. Like the experience we were drilling down to in the meditation tonight. What I was encouraging you to drop down, to keep answering this monotonous question and see what kinds of answers were percolating up, some awareness of yourself, something. And when you get to the place of not being able to name it, I think you're onto something. When it doesn't have a label, when it doesn't have a name anymore, there is something that is just pure awareness. Your true self, our eyes open. So I have an assignment for you. I'm going to encourage you to make a date with yourself tomorrow. I don't care what else you got going on tomorrow. Tomorrow, during the daylight hours. Or you can do this at the end of your prayer time or your meditation practice. But do this. Breathing fully and slowly, setting aside any of your to-dos or anything else. Set aside a start and a finish time so that nothing else can get in the middle, just whatever that is. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you've got. An hour, if you've got that. Whatever it is, but that, no phone, nothing to interfere, nothing to interrupt. No thoughts, no plans. Step outside. No matter what the weather's doing, no matter what, step outside. Stand there. Don't go anywhere. Just stand there. Look around like you did as a child. Feel it. Smell it. Take it in. Notice what draws your curiosity or your sense of wonder. What's going on? What's that over there? I didn't see that in my yard before. What is that? Perhaps it's a desire. A desire arises to smell a flower. A new bud. A new flower has bloomed. Or touch the bark on a tree. I haven't even been over in that corner for the longest time. Or a tender leaf. or walk barefoot on the green grass. Perhaps you want to get a blanket and lay down and look up at the clouds in the sky, or watch the birds, where they go, how they fly around. Butterflies chasing around a tree trunk. Dragonflies buzzing around each other. Squirrels chasing up and down the trees. Maybe all those things. One thing after another thing after another. Using your innate and long-forgotten childish nature of wonder and curiosity. Feel the breeze on your face, moving the leaves and branches of the tree that you're watching. Clouds moving in the sky, forming patterns, so slow. Fly up to the sky, touch the clouds. Focus on these sensations and observations until you feel the lift of joy, freedom. This is evidence of your authentic self. In that moment, you're touching the divine. You are living and aware through the portal of your true authentic self, the natural living moment of life, right here, right now. The observer in you is alive and present, watching, participating, experiencing. Now, I invite you to plan to make that practice a part of your prayer practice. Whatever time you give it will be sufficient for the moment that you feel freedom, or the moment you feel joy, or the moment you feel peace or contentment, the moment that you notice you stop thinking. You will have arrived. And so as a final note, in reconnecting with the joy, with the freedom, you're connecting with your authentic self, not your thoughts about your authentic self. Because it is in joy, in innocence, in freedom, our authentic virtues arise as well. Goodness, compassion, service, openness to difference, acceptance, gratitude. For these are the fruits of the spiritual life. The Persian Sufi poet Rumi says, "In times of sudden danger, most people call out, 'Oh my God.' Why would they keep doing this if it didn't help? Only a fool keeps going back where nothing happens. The whole world lives within a safeguarding, fish inside of waves, birds held in the sky, the elephant, the wolf, the lion as he hunts, the dragon, the ant, the waiting snake, even the ground, the air, the water, every spark that floats up from the fire. All subsist, exist, are held in the divine. Nothing is ever alone for even a moment. All giving comes from there. No matter who you think you put your hand out toward, it's that which gives. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Karen, for giving us this understanding of ego and true self in such a poetic way. So beautiful, thank you. Thank you. I'm considering, because I've heard you teach on this a number of times on this process of spiritual bypass, that for me, when I get stuck in a problem and I get really small, when I can take the 10,000-foot view and kind of expand out of it, that actually helps me be in it in a more open way. And I'm thinking that that's not what you mean by spiritual bypass.
Right. Yes, thank you. That is tricky. I do the same thing because I also get, into the knots and the bolts of trying to untangle this terrible mess and be all upset about it. But you're right. It's like, oh, this too shall pass. That sort of idea. But it isn't to avoid and to arise. And so some of us who get into things and gnarly and have to bite it all open and try to fix it ourselves, the opposite can also be true, that some of us are avoiders. And those of us who avoid, and those of us who, sort of like disengage and become, feel powerless in it, wait for it to be over, somebody to save me, somebody to take care of it, somebody else will do something with it, even though it's mine, even though it's for me to do. And so this idea can become that the way that I salve my pain is I just fall back to a truth that, well, this is all illusion. This is just, this will just dissipate with thin air. I'll just wait for this to be over or whatever. And the truth is, while that is a temporary position to be in, it's not a strategy for managing your life. It is important to remember that it's both and. We have a role. If it's in my life, I'm obviously involved. I've got something to inject into it, to learn from it, to work with it, to get help with, whatever it is, whatever goes against my grain most of the time is the thing I really have to do here. If it's to get help because I don't want help, or to go figure it out so that I don't surrender it, to go find somebody to give it to, or blame it on, or whatever my pattern is, it's to go against my pattern and to handle it and to be present to it. And yes, that's spiritual bypassing is really just, it's sort of a resentful passivity. That's how I think of it. It's like, it's full of resentment because it's anger towards God, really. At its, who are you, who are you, who are you? What are you feeling, what are you feeling, you're really angry. You're really mad that this has come into your life. This wasn't what you were promised, and this isn't, where's God now, It's that kind of thing. So God needs to come and take it out. So that prayer isn't going to get answered. That's not a prayer anymore. That's just the position is to empower ourselves and to find how to handle it. It's never what we think it is. It's always almost always the opposite. Why? Because everything is already here. It's already here. So if what we've been doing doesn't work, try the opposite. I mean, if you're shooting in the dark, you might as well go the opposite direction and just see, does that start to loosen it up? More times than not, it does.
It's amusing to me hearing you say, really, if you're in that struggle, you're angry, and you're angry at God. But God can handle that. She really doesn't mind.
No.
And then if we can, in that moment, sort of identify with the God's sense of humor about it, then we sort of expand our awareness. So much of, even starting with the meditation, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? It's like, okay, she's really ringing that bell. So we are going there, and so. It's almost implicit in the title, to the paradox of self, the small self and the capital S self. But it is really about how you identify, because we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have sensations, and the food I eat does nothing for you, and so there is an individuation that is part of the human condition, but it is a matter of identification. Because even my witness self that is able to notice my thoughts and my feelings and my body, and I kind of pull back that 10,000-foot view, and my witness self kind of notices all of that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty liberating right there. But that's still self. That's still small s self. There is a state change. Like 212 degrees is hot, but. 211 degrees is hot. 212 degrees is like, whoa, that's so totally different. So it's, the same is true about my identification. If I identify with my witness self, okay, that's pretty cool. But if I actually identify with God, and I am present to my inherent connectedness with all that is, it's more than the 10,000-foot view. It is being the ocean, and it is a state of being, and everything lines up then. The feeling states, the emotions, everything, and it's so liberating. You have such power there. I was reminded also in a prayer recently. I heard someone say, "I am more than my brother's keeper. I am my brother." And if we can actually identify in that way, then we're not trying to help each other as much as we are being with each other, and we're navigating in a way that is inherently empowering.
Right, and you're onto something there. When you're talking about God and what did I hear you say? That you're not just trying to find your higher self or your true self, but I want to remind you that you don't actually have a true self. It is an open window to the infinite. You see, it's like it's the orifice through which you are seeing and experiencing all of life, and in that is infinity.
It's even inherent in the language you say, you don't have, I don't have a true self. There is only true self.
And therefore, access to the infinite gift of whatever I need, in whatever measure I need it, with including intelligence and wisdom and presence and generosity and love and peace and everything that I think I'm separated from. I don't have to go to a God, a being, or the divine, or any other big word I want to use. I find more and more I just wipe that whole idea aside, because for me it's too limiting. For me it is, because of my old programming. I have to just open it up and say, I got a big wide world, I got an open portal to the big wide freaking universe and everything in it. And I'm already immersed in it, and it's already here, and it already wants to love me, and it already has showered me with every gift, and nothing is being held back from me. It's only me that can shut the door on it. And if I can feel that, and my assurance that I'm there is freedom, is joy, is life, is love, it's well-being, it's serenity, it's gratitude, it's tears of joy, it's whatever. Those are the hallmarks. That's how you know you touched it. And when you're worried, mad, pissed off, gotta, blame, you fell back into your small self again, into the naughty little identity of not love, not connected, not remembering, right?
The Buddhist teaching of, like you were saying, about being in your feelings, of Mara, and just greeting Mara, and just diving right in, just feeling all of that, because so often our resistance is we don't want to feel that feeling of sadness or fear or whatever it is. So resisting that feeling, if we actually just let ourselves feel the feeling, it will move through a lot more quickly than we think.
Right. And I love it. What you were both saying is that even in that, that not being, here's the deal, just simply allow yourself to feel it while remembering this is not all there is. This is not forever, you know? You can do both. You can hold both ideas at the same time. Part of our spiritual practice and our development is to be able to know that both are happening at the same time. This is not eternal truth, but it is definitely a condition I'm living with right now, right? I'm really here. I feel it, but it is not the truth of me. It is not all there is, and it has come, therefore I know it goes. And I can calm myself with that, but I got a hand in it, and I got to stay with it to feel it and to do my part and learn what I can learn from it. It's only a learning. And moving back to the portal, that it brings everything to me, and doing what we can do to live there. Children live there all the time, you know? We have all been there. We know how to do this. We just have been enculturated out of it. We thought we grew up and left it behind. And unfortunately, I think we did. But we can resurrect it. We can go back. And nature is the fastest thing I know to moving back into that embrace, into the big embrace. That's all. Everything is there. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, David. This feels like a good place to move into our experience of the big embrace of prayer as we turn within once again, holding it all that is on our hearts this evening. We are one with even that person, that situation, that condition that may trigger us, that seems out of alignment or harmful, that there is a learning there. There is an opening, a possibility, even in that. And so now we call forward those names of people, places, conditions, situations that we would like to have a greater awareness of oneness, of healing, of love, of peace. Let us speak those names now. We are grateful for the love that connects us all. That as our prayers go forward, that healing is unfolding, as within, so without. And as we see the possibilities of greater love, greater peace, greater joy, greater connection, we begin to see it even more fully in our outer world, in our experience. And what a blessing it is to remember this. We are grateful, and so it is. Amen. We have a new class starting on Saturday, Contemplative Photography, level 1, so no photography experience necessary, and this is a Buddhist teaching that Denise Bossart has been trained in of how to see things and capture the life in them in photography. And it sold out the last time we offered it. There are still some spaces available, so I invite you to check it out and to join. All you really need is the camera on your phone. So we hope that you'll decide to be a part of this and register on our website. On Sunday, our Spanish language service, I didn't look at this before, but it looks like it's blessing mothers and grandmothers, and that will be with Claudia almost at 9:45, live streaming on our Unity of Houston and Espanol Facebook. Reverend Michael Gott will be speaking on the blessing of mothers and grandmothers for Mother's Day on Sunday. RSVP and join us in person, especially moms. We would love to have you because we have a flower for you, and we would love to just see you here and honor you. And of course, we'll be live streaming as well at 11 a.m. this Sunday. Our Wednesday food distribution is one of the biggest weekly distributions in the city. The line of cars just goes all the way down on Fairdale, and we're just grateful that we're able to serve over 1,000 local families. We need your support as far as you coming onto campus and helping us distribute the food. Many hands make light work, so the more that we can have volunteering, the more quickly we can distribute this food and more effectively. So please sign up to volunteer on our website. It is amazing how wonderful it is to be with the Unity and the Community team and do this service work. So it will be a blessing to you as well as a blessing to our community. Next Wednesday night, I'll be sharing the message, Fearless Compassion. So come and find out what it means to live with fearless compassion next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And on the following Saturday, May 15th, the Unity women are having an event, Circle of Life. Karen, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
We're looking at 3 different aspects of sort of like the part of life leading up to death and the death itself, and then the crossing over into the afterlife, and some ideas that we just want to put forth. And when I say we, there's a panel of 3, Reverend Mindy Lawrence Curtis, who has been involved for many, many years with Journey Through Grief and the grief process of the letting go of people that we love and going through the grief process and its benefits and value. Monica Mullen, who is being trained right now as what's called a death doula, someone who actually, a doula is somebody who helps bring a child in, a mother have a child and bring a child into the world in birth, but a death doula is someone who helps someone get through to leave their body peacefully and move into the next stage of life. And my role will be in sharing experience that I've had over the last 25 years in studying the afterlife and studying through, near-death experiencers and all kinds of different things, as well as my own spiritual experience that I'd like to share, and what I've learned as a Unity minister and as a teacher of what feels true about what happens on the other side of this. It's just a teaser to see, just come and see what you think. Join us on Zoom, yeah.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Oh, now we'll move into our metta practice.
So we invite you to join us by speaking these words together. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all.
Namaste, namaste, I bow to you. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste, namaste. Go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste.